The Law of Gravitation of Life. Xiefeng, November 28, 2006. Translated by Transin. I say to you, you will not come out of it until you have made payment to the very last farthing. The motions and developmental trends of all objects are affected by gravitational forces. It is impossible for anything to escape without conquering the gravity that binds and constrains it. This law is suitable to the material world as well as to the non-material world. The law of the universal gravitation of life can be expressed thusly. Gravity exists between or among any destined lives in the universe. Their magnitude of gravity is directly proportional to the amount that they owe to each other and inversely proportional to how much favor they have done to each other. That is to say, the greater the debt is, the stronger the gravitational interactions will be, but the greater the favors, the stronger the reaction forces will be. The main reason that the souls of many self-refining people cannot reach even the lowest level of heaven after leaving their physical bodies is the effect of gravitation of the earth towards their lives. This is the procedure of Tao, which cannot be overcome only by consciousness. Many near-death people have already left their physical bodies, but they come back to life eventually, which result from the effect of the attraction to life. Many people arrive at beautiful places in their dreams only to awaken near the end as a result of this attraction. No matter how far they travel, immigrants always have been longings for their homes from time to time. A Punjabi phrase says, East, West, home is best, and part of an American poem and song goes, be it ever so humble, there is no place like home. The great emperor, Li Shimin of the Tang dynasty, earnestly enjoined monk Xuanzang, who was leaving for India, love and cherish even a pinch of mud from your homeland more than a ton of gold from other places. Why are our homes so attractive? Because we owe debts to them. It was the mountains and rivers in our native land that cultivated us, and it is our families that favor us. This is the effect of the gravitation of life which very few can resist. Transmigrations and reincarnations of life will gravitate toward the world from which you were over debt in your previous life. If you owe a debt to someone, you will return to serve them in your next life as a person, or even as an ox, horse, dog, or sheep to do the same. If you owe a debt to an animal, you will return as one, or even as food for it. Buddhists attach importance to predestination, but what is it? It is the combination of debts and favors. In China, there are sayings such as, though born 1,000 miles apart, souls which are one shall meet, and a fated match across 1,000 miles is drawn by a thread. Here, the meaning of the word thread is the gravity of predestination, which is also a combination of debt and favor and is inescapable by anyone. A Chinese saying says, husbands and wives are foes. In the mortal world, marriage is just like living in a protracted lawsuit against each other. You will by no means leave this world until you pay off all your debts. This is why Jesus Christ taught us that whoever smites us on our right cheek, turn to him the left also. Buddha Sakyamuni said in the Diamond Sutra that, furthermore, subhuti, if a virtuous man or woman who receives, holds in mind, reads and recites this sutra and become despised by others, that because one is bound to suffer from evil destinies in retribution for their past sins, their karmic sins can be eradicated by enduring others' contempt of present life, so they will attain peerless perfect enlightenment. Actually, you are blessed if someone reviles or persecutes you, and this is one of the most effective ways to pay your debts. Therefore, the starting point for your advanced self-refinement should be that you are brave enough to accept revilement and persecution without any resentment or desire for revenge in your mind. You have to be willing to accept all the suffering. You should be absolutely obedient to your parents, patient with your brothers and sisters, and yield to your spouse. You should also devote your hearts and souls to the education of your children without expecting anything in return. Jesus told us that a man's foes are those of his own household. We owe to our families, and this debt will attract us back to the mortal world. Thus, our families are the biggest factors preventing us from entering heaven. Goodness and loving kindness follow us all the days of our lives, so we have to go back to the mortal world to repay them in their afterlife. Therefore, any advantage or benefit that we derive from the mortal world is just glue which will restrict us from entering heaven. In Matthew 10 verses 35 to 40, Jesus Christ taught us, "For I have come to set sons at variance against their fathers, daughters against their mothers, and daughters-in-law against their mothers-in-law, and their foes shall be of their own households. Those who love their fathers and mothers more than me are not worthy of me. Those who love their sons and daughters more than me are not worthy of me. And those who take not their cross and follow after me are not worthy of me. Those who find their lives shall lose them, and those who lose their lives for my sake shall find them. Verily I say unto you, there is no man that hath left house, or parents, or brethren, or wife, or children, for the kingdom of God's sake, who shall not receive manifold more in this present time, and in the world to come life everlasting." Jesus' words tell the exact truth. We should abandon all that we possess in the mortal world. But how? The only way is to experience the worst hardship and the most miserable suffering, and to bear the most painful torment. In order to repay those kindnesses, everything that we do should be as that of cows. They eat grass but produce milk. We should burn ourselves as candles. As long as we live, we will exhaust ourselves fully to pay back the debts that we owe from previous lives. A reading from the Baha'i faith begins as follows. "Behold the candle, how it gives its light. It weeps its life away, drop by drop to give its flame. You must die to the world, and so be born again, and enter in to the kingdom of heaven." Jesus told us that where one's wealth is, so too is their heart. So reserve wealth for yourself in heaven. Buddha also preached that we should do our best to give alms formlessly and accumulate merits constantly. In this way, the fruit of its reward will be inconceivable. We will understand the law of universal gravitation of life as soon as we enter into the non-material world. Some have dreamed of flying in very beautiful places, which show very little magnitude of gravitational attraction from the mortal world, while others have never flown in their dreams. Some have never dreamed in color, which indicates a big magnitude of gravitational force from the mortal world. Although Isaac Newton's 3 laws of motion describe the material world, but they also apply to the non-material world and offer inspiration to us. We can understand this principle from the case of the 3 cosmic velocities. A satellite must meet an initial velocity requirement of 7.9 kilometers per second in order to orbit around the Earth. Escape velocity is 11.2 kilometers per second for it to escape from the Earth's gravity and rotate around the Sun. A third and higher velocity will allow the spacecraft to escape from the Sun's gravity and travel out into the galaxies. The 1,000-year world, 10,000-year world, and Elysium world that I have described are just like those 3 cosmic velocity levels. The first cosmic velocity is required to reach the 1,000-year world. The second is required for the 10,000 world. And the third is required for reaching the Elysium world. It is impossible to reach the above 3 worlds unless the requirements for the minimum speeds are achieved. Of course, this is a metaphor, but the concept applies. Pay your debts and free yourselves from the shackle of the gravity of lower life space. Pay that final farthing that you owed to the lower space lives. The best way to do this is to give alms formlessly and accumulate merits. Do you know why the best way to self-improve and self-cultivate is to help construct Life Genuine? It is because we are initiating the Life Genuine era for humankind, and this era will not only benefit humankind, animals, and plants, but also rivers, lakes, the sea, and the sky. We are accumulating the greatest merits which are sufficient to offset all that you have owed to all forms of life throughout all time, including what we owe to our families. Why should we revere life and nature? This is the basic principle. Understanding these principles, we will feel sweet even when enduring hardship and tiredness. The enjoyment should be given priority to others, and the hardship and tiredness should be left for ourselves. One should set up a superior goal, work hard on an ordinary job, and lead a humble life. In this way, we will burn ourselves as candles to the greatest extent. Forget complaining if you ever wanted to, give up revenge if you ever desired to, and release any hate that you still have. On the contrary, bless those whom you felt antagonism toward. The law of the universal gravitation of life tells us that the magnitude of gravity is directly proportional to what we owe but inversely proportional to what we have favored. The more that one owes, the greater their magnitude of gravitational interactions will be, and the more difficult it will be for them to reach heaven. However, the more that one has favored, the less that the gravitational force will pull on them and the easier it will be for them to leave for heaven. When we face our imminent deaths, we will rest in peace if we are free from all concerns and debts. Otherwise, we will turn over in our graves with restless souls. Do not accept favors from others readily. Once you accept them, they will become your debts. Those favors relieve others, but shackle you. Do not kill animals intentionally, or those animals will be freed, but you will be shackled. Be as much a vegan, or at least a vegetarian as you can, because animals are lives too. What is owed to animals must be repaid eventually. What you gain must correspond with what you have paid, and any excess is unnecessary because it means debt for you. I am unable to describe all the details. Get to know the principles first, and then put them into practice. 生命的反物质结构完美的标志 The symbol of a perfect soul. Non-material structure of life. Xiefeng. April 14th, 2010. Translated by Tsong Long and edited by Care. There is no absolute perfection, only relative perfection. There are different symbols of perfection for the non-material structure of each level of life. Different life beings have different standards of perfection. What I am saying here is referring to the symbol of the 1,000-year world celestials. If you reach the standard below, you are eligible to live in the 1,000-year world. Your nature is fully exhibited, and you have no shame. Adam and Eve were nude and shameless in the beginning, but they later had shame and were dismissed from Eden to live on earth. If they had wanted to go back to Eden, they would have needed to return to their nature and eliminate the feeling of shame. Jesus once said, "I tell you the truth, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven." Children have no shame. They just follow their nature and they are not fettered. Nature is the state of Buddhahood, without shame and letting one's nature be displayed entirely so that they can return to the kingdom of heaven. All creatures, even a blade of grass and a piece of wood, are your friends, and you never hurt any insects or birds. You are one with heaven and earth. You coexist harmoniously with everything. You are friends with plants, and even insects and birds are your friends, and you never hurt any life. You are innocent and artless as a child and good at playing and entertaining. The 1,000-year world is a place of happiness and joy. If you cannot reach the state of innocence and artlessness, you will not be able to live in the 1,000-year world. You are worry-free and carefree when going anywhere, and you treat people you meet as your family. You are absolutely selfless and nothing can bother you. You see every place as your home. Everyone likes you, and you like everyone you meet. You do not have the idea of differentiation, and you treat everybody equally. You own nothing, possess no one, are never jealous, and never compare yourself with others. You are well integrated into nature and the community. You own nothing, nor do you possess those whom you love. You are not jealous of your fellows. You only praise and love them. You never compare yourself with others. You are healthy, positive, and optimistic, and never have negative feelings. You are mentally and emotionally healthy, positive, optimistic, and you never have negative feelings. You always bring happiness and fun to the people around you. You never hesitate or worry, and you are not even on your guard against anything. You are ordinary and keep a low profile, and you never hate anyone or try to feel superior. You do not have the feeling of lowliness or nobleness, superiority or inferiority. You only react when you feel the call in your heart. You are able to adapt yourself to any circumstance. You never act out of bravado or pick on anybody. You never have the desire to manage or control others, and you do not know hatred, discontentment, or what outstanding and superior are. You do what you like, but within boundaries. You are free and unrestrained, but even-tempered. You revere the greatest creator, life, and nature, and you maintain these values. You love life and all creatures. You are always grateful, and you get along well with the group. You do not have neither bad habits nor a bad temper. You never complain or get angry, and you never make mischief among people, but you never swallow insult and humiliation silently or allow your will to be abused. You are free and unfettered. If you have ascended to the above 8 standards, you have reached the first milestone and have stepped into the group of celestials. You can further self-cultivate on this basis to qualify to live in 10,000-year world in the Elysium world. 在画人生和生命线路图 The roadmap of life and life. Shuefeng, translated by Tsong Long and edited by Care. Life Genuine faces directly to life and life. Life and life are two relevant but completely different concepts. Life is only a short journey of life on Earth, not the whole contents of life. As a devoted cultivator, first we need to know the meaning, value, and purpose of life and life. Otherwise, our life is confused, and we will not have a beautiful future for life. As for life and life, Life Genuine has stated a lot to explain them deeply. Everyone who wants to understand what life and life are should read them. If what I have explained are not comprehensive, they can enlighten you at least. In order for us to understand the value and meaning of life, or the purpose of life, first we have to be clear on the origin of humanity and the coordinate point and coordinate system humans are situated in the universe, our position in the vast life universe system, and the role we play in the universe. We will eventually realize that the value and purpose of life. When we are alive, we should live in happiness, freedom, and joy. We can also know this from our body structure and get inspiration from blue sky, white cloud, mountains and rivers, from the blooming flower, sun and moon, from sunshine, rain, dew, and the flying birds. How we can get a happy, joyful, free, and blessed life. Firstly, we need to know what is moral. The behaviors and actions we do to maintain our nature of origin is called moral. Any way of act that is against our nature is immoral. To put it in more details, any theory, behavior, or lifestyle which is able to bring a happy, joyful, free life is moral. Any theory, behavior, or lifestyle which stops or prevents people from leading a happy, joyful, free life is immoral. When we look at the history and current situation of humanity, we can see that humans have been leading an immoral life. The existence of nuclear family, country, religion, and political party is immoral. In particular, the marriage, nuclear family, and country are very immoral, which impede people leading a happy, joyful, and free life. In other words, any theory, doctrine, constitution, law, behavior that praises marriage, nuclear family, and country is immoral. Since they are immoral, we need to get away from marriage, nuclear family, country, religion, and political party. Where should we go? We need to listen to the teachings and guidance of Jesus Christ, Buddha Sakyamuni, Celestial Lao Tzu, Prophet Muhammad, and all other saints and sages in human history. We can get away from marriage and nuclear family by living in the new oasis for life of Life Genuine, initiating a new era where all religions integrate into one belief system, all dharma return to source, where the talented will be put to good use, and the whole world will be one family. No one would pocket anything found on the ground, and doors are not bolted at night. Everything will be in complete harmony, and everyone will be happy and free, will help us get away from country, religion, and political party. How to get away from nuclear family, religion, country, and political party. For those who are not married, if you don't marry anybody, you get away from marriage. For those who are married, the most effective way is to take care of your parents and children first with all your heart, pay off your debts, and finish all secular affairs. Enter the new oasis for life with your spouse together. When most people in the world are willing to live in a lifestyle of the new oasis for life, country, political party, and religion will disappear automatically. The above only refers to life. Speaking of life, life is a non-material structure with spiritual sense. The life form, its existence style, and living environment is dependent on the life structure. We can understand this by observing the life form and existence style of animals like rat, dog, ox, sheep, pig, etc. To understand life, we first need to know what is non-material world, the source and future of our life. We also need to know the meaning and secret of time and space. As far as human beings are concerned, the most beautiful future for them is the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, and the Elysium world. These worlds are not feigned or imagined by someone. This is an effect and necessity caused by the law of sum of positive and negative energy. It is just like Mercury, Saturn, and Mars in the solar system are necessity, and the 7 apertures, hair, arms and legs, organs of human body are necessity. How can we go to the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, and the Elysium world? Very simple. The reality is manifested by our consciousness. Whatever consciousness we have corresponding reality. That is to say, When we possess the consciousness of the celestials in the thousand-year world, we can go to the thousand-year world. Likewise, if we possess the consciousness of the celestials in the 10,000-year world, we can go to the 10,000-year world. If we possess the consciousness of the Buddhas in the Elysium world, we can go to the Elysium world. When we possess the consciousness and quality of super-celestial beings, we can go to the Celestial Islands continent, one of the Elysium worlds. However, there is an issue. Life has gravity, which is directly related to our debts and karma. In other words, we have to pay off the debts we accumulated in our previous lives and settle and finish secular affairs. Otherwise, our dream is just a dream. In Bible, Jesus told us, if we still have debts, even one penny, we will not be able to get away from that place. So how can we pay off debts and settle our secular affairs as soon as possible? Buddha Sakyamuni has already given us a direction in the book Diamond Sutra. The answer is formless alms, giving, because its return is inconceivable. How do we do formless alms, giving? The best way is to take part in the process of building Life Genuine and initiate a brand new Life Genuine era. All people, no matter they are white, black, or yellow, no matter they are rich, poor, or middle class, no matter they are president, minister, or civilian, no matter they are prostitute, thief, or robber, let's try to make everyone lead a happy, free, and blessed life at the same time. Restore the beauty of Mother Earth. How can we take part in Life Genuine cause and create a Life Genuine era for humanity? Very simple. Act according to the teachings of Lao Tzu in Tao Te Ching. Therefore the sage embraces the One and becomes the model of the world. Through possession of the One, the heaven was clarified. Through possession of the One, the earth was stabilized. Through possession of the One, the gods were spiritualized. Through possession of the One, the valleys were made full. Through possession of the One, all things lived and grew. What is the core of One? The core of One is the way of the greatest creator. Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, warned us in the Quran, O company of jinn and men, if ye can overpass the bounds of the heavens and the earth, then overpass them. But by our leave only shall ye overpass them. So who should we rely on? Allah, the greatest creator. We need to revere the greatest creator and walk on his way. There is one more important thing we need to note. That is, we need saved treasure in heaven, because Jesus taught us, for where your wealth is, there will your heart be. So for where your heart is, there will your future be. As a cultivator, we need to accumulate merits, which are our wealth in heaven. And the biggest merit is to pioneer Life Genuine era for humanity. Wish everyone realize his dreams. 成禅院草的唯一目的是自成正果. The only purpose of becoming a Chanyuan celestial is to accomplish the spiritual state of immortality on one's own. Xiefeng, December 4th, 2011. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. A spiritual state of immortality is peerless, correct, and perfect enlightenment, also the most perfect end result. To accomplish the spiritual state of immortality on one's own means that after being tested by desire, anger, ignorance, jealousy, and pride, and surviving calamity and hardship, one can finally acquire enlightenment and perceive nature, realize the secrets of life and life, then achieve Buddhahood fruit or the super celestial being fruit, reach the celestial islands continent of the Elysium world, be free from the samsara and free from all confusion, and enjoy the boundless joy and pleasure of life. To accomplish a spiritual state of immortality on one's own is the only purpose of becoming a Chanyuan celestial. There is no other purpose except this one. The way to become a Chanyuan celestial and accomplish the spiritual state of immortality is this. You need to read Chanyuan Corpus and Siefeng Corpus and understand the profound mystery of life, time, and space. You need to work hard to pay off and eliminate all your debts from many generations in the mortal world and sever your associated ties, and enter the new oasis for life. You need to take part in the construction of the new oasis for life, clean up the dust and dirt from your soul garden and beautify it by doing formless almsgiving, free yourself from the universal gravitation of life in the mortal world, accumulate merits and virtues, and finally leave for the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, or the celestial islands continent of the Elysium world. In order to accomplish the spiritual state of immortality, you must observe strictly the roadmap of the guide. Otherwise, it will be hard to accomplish the spiritual state of immortality. Therefore, you will not pursue any of the following 8 purposes anymore. No longer pursue other roads, but only take the way of the greatest creator. No longer pursue money, power, status, fame, or have lust, but abandon your ego and achieve the realm of freedom from ego and freedom from form. Do not educate others or deliver any beings from torment anymore, but concentrate on your own achievements. Do not participate in any other activities or organizations anymore, but act in accordance with your nature and unite with Tao. Never show yourself off, but live and work earnestly and faithfully by following the teachings of Jesus Christ and Buddha Sakyamuni. Never attempt to achieve vigorous careers, have ambition, be competitive with a secular government, or turn against any person, organization, or group, but accept things as they are, cherish the present, thank everyone, and remain humble. No longer argue, debate, quarrel, fight, scramble, or struggle for anything or with anyone, but be flexible and act tactfully, knowing to smile to the subtle metaphysics and learn all the secrets. Do not consider yourself as someone great or extraordinary anymore, but as the humblest, most ordinary, most common life in the world. Therefore, after entering the new oasis for life, you need to no longer pour out your woes or complaints, but build up your own soul garden. No longer display yourself anywhere, but endeavor to pursue doing your duty at a first-class level of quality. No longer bother with others or regard other people's business, but concentrate on your own perfection. No longer find fault with others or cavil at anything, but concentrate your attention toward realizing yourself. No longer carp at, educate, or guide others, but implement the theory which you have learned into your own words and behavior. Concentrate on whether every little thing you do is accord with the teachings of gods, Buddha, celestial beings, and sages, and not be concerned with others. No longer pursue material interests and comforts, but pursue the abundance of the spirit and soul. No longer discuss or comment on others, nor stir up enmity and make mischief, but pursue coexistence in harmony with every brother and sister. Be a simple and honest person, not a shrewd and capable person. Be a sincere and frank person, not a scheming and defensive person. Be a natural person who can spontaneously play a game or have fun like a child, not a sanctimonious little hypocrite whose flattering lips speak with deception. The self-cultivation and self-refining in life genuine are different than any other kind in history. The traditional forms of self-cultivation and self-refining do not work in life genuine. This is full coordinate and holographic self-cultivation and self-refining. To be a Chanyuan celestial, you must rid yourself of inherent consciousness, thinking, and habits, but realize yourself with the whole new thinking and the whole new way, then accomplish the spiritual state of immortality. 初级祈祷语 Our primary prayer. Siefeng. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. To the Supreme Master of the Universe, Allah, Ancestor of Buddha, Greatest Creator. You are the cradle of life and the birthplace of wisdom, and I sincerely thank you for bestowing life upon me. I am but a blade of grass between mountains, a grain of sand in the oceans, and you blessed me with spirituality so that I can enjoy the wonders of nature. I used to be obsessed with the mortal world and was unaware of what truth, goodness, and beauty are, or what falsity, evil, and ugliness are, and my words and deeds had often offended heaven and earth, counter to your will. I repent deeply and beg sincerely for you to forgive me for my sins. I am willing to be your servant, to follow the way that you guide me, and to receive punishment for my transgressions. Beloved Allah, ancestor of Buddha, greatest creator, thank you deeply, for you have always understood my heart and have shown mercy on this tiny life of mine by allowing me to enter life genuine. No matter how boundless the universe is, it cannot exceed your supernatural power. No matter how deep the rivers are, they are shallower than your wisdom. I am willing to repent and become a new person. I will support and honor my parents, care for my wife, love my children, and create a harmonious and happy family. I will lead a simple life and no longer pursue illusory things. I will no longer compete with others. I will no longer drift through life and waste my time. I will love life deeply and maintain my health. I will love nature and never cut down grass and trees at will, kill creatures, or discard filth. I will no longer allow the ignorant to waste my precious time or allow meaningless things to deprive me of my physical and spiritual freedom. Bathed in the light of your wisdom, I dedicate myself to self-cultivation, proceeding with neither hesitation nor regrets. Almighty Allah, ancestor of Buddha, greatest creator, I no longer misunderstand you with my own shallow knowledge. Please forgive my previous ignorance and stupidity. I am a mere mortal now and know little about the universe, life, and nature's mysteries, so I need some time to understand them before I reach the realm of wisdom. I pray for you to give me health, wealth, and freedom. May you keep my loved ones safe and give me more guidance so that I will be transformed and reborn and overcome all worldly thoughts in order to attain sainthood as soon as possible. Omnipresent Allah, ancestor of Buddha, greatest creator, I am eager to receive your supervision to test me at any time and in any way. When the rosy dawn bathes the earth and the red sun rises from the east, your servant will have risen up, cleaned up, and begun a new day of life in good spirits. Frustration, failure, displeasure, and dissatisfaction have left me, and I will let nature take its course and not chase success stubbornly. I want to enjoy every little bit of my life, even in the face of all misfortune, with a smile. When the bright moon hangs in the sky and the wind blows softly across the field, your servant will have washed away all the dust and dirt around and will be reading and meditating under a lamp. Supreme Allah, ancestor of Buddha, greatest creator, I pray to you in the name of Jesus Christ, Buddha Sakyamuni, and Mohammed, PBUH, and approach you with self-improvement. Please accept your servant and fulfill my wish. Amen. 终极祈祷语 Our intermediate prayer. Xiefeng. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. Master of all gods, Allah, ancestor of Buddha, greatest creator. You are the prime mover of the universe, the energy center of the supernatural world, the spring in the desert, the beacon in the fog, and I sincerely thank you for endowing me with wisdom. After several years of self-improvement and self-cultivation, I can see the structure of the Earth's universe clearly, understand 36-dimensional spaces, and know the reasons and processes for the rises and falls of life in different spaces so that I can escape the wrong path in order to sense the true meaning of life. I have acquired knowledge about life, learned the purposes and values of time and space, and seen a much larger, more wonderful, and more perfect universe than I had previously imagined. You have shown me thousands of worlds that I will never fly over even at the speed of light and across millions of years of time. O my Lord, Allah, ancestor of Buddha, greatest creator, since I have known you, I have always lived in a state of inspiration and excitement. I cannot express my gratitude in praise or extol to you in words. Just see the biological wave around my body, my amplitude, my wavelength and frequency have been completely transformed. O Allah, ancestor of Buddha, greatest creator who has created everything in the universe. I can achieve perfect human nature with your favor and transcend over vulgarity with your patient guidance. I have renounced material desire, conquered death, and transcended time and space. After only a few years in the mortal world, I have reached the realm that ordinary people never attain even after dozens of cycles of samsara and across hundreds of years. The key factor for my leap of spiritual quality lies in my full and sincere faith in you. As Jesus taught us, if your faith were only as great as a grain of mustard seed, then even if you tell a mulberry tree to be uprooted and planted in the sea, it would be done. This is the truth. Where faith comes, iron and steel melt, cancer disappears, demons are defeated, and even heaven and earth can be reversed. The perfect Allah, ancestor of Buddha, greatest creator. In the past, I thought that a blissful state of life should be described as seasonal rain falling after a long drought, meeting an old friend in a distant land, holding a loved one on a wedding night, or as a name that is listed as a winning candidate. But now I know the infinitely splendid wonderland that exceeds the above by 1,000 times, even 10,000 times. Every cell in my body is joyous and excited. Every nerve in my body sings and dances. Oh, greatest creator! All that I have attained is from your gifts. I could never have entered this splendid wonderland without your wisdom. Once again, I sing praise to you, extol you, and thank you sincerely. Heavenly and benevolent Allah, ancestor of Buddha, greatest creator. You have polished and refined me from a rough rock to a shining gemstone and have guided me from a confused, troubled, and low-realm life into a pure, carefree, and top-grade one, and freed me from the shackles and fetters of the ordinary and allowed me to sense real relaxation and pleasure. In the past, I was sad when I encountered troubles, complained when I was set back, was frustrated when I met obstacles, and was negative and pessimistic when I experienced adversity. I was so childish and ridiculous. It was you who cleared the thick fog in front of my life and made me see clearly that people are just wandering around aimlessly and disorderly in the mortal world, so that I could understand the law of causality and find the best way of life. Peerlessly wise Allah, ancestor of Buddha, greatest creator. Although I have transcended over vulgarity, comparing my wisdom with yours would be like comparing an oil lamp swaying in a storm to the mighty sun. My wisdom is like drops of water percolating through seams and rocks, while yours is like the roaring ocean. I pray for you to guide me, spur me on, encourage me constantly, and bestow more wisdom upon me so that I will be able to climb the towering mountains that prevent me from perceiving my nature and appreciating the magnificent view of other amazing worlds. Insightful greatest creator. I have just reached the first floor. Though I have achieved perfect human nature, Satan will never stop tempting me. He will allure me and deceive me, and I might commit sins. I pray for you to forgive me continuously with moderate punishments so that my sins in this life will be offset in this life. No matter how rough the future might be, I will continue along my journey of self-cultivation even though it is very long and never stop self-improving even though the goal is very far. Most kind and merciful greatest creator. I pray to you in the name of Jesus Christ and approach you through self-improvement and self-cultivation. Please accept your servant's request and fulfill my wish. Amen. 自由是通往天堂的通行证. Freedom is the passport to heaven. Xiefeng. May 20th, 2020. Translated by Qinyu and edited by Care. The biggest difference between heaven and hell is that heaven is freedom, but hell is bondage. If you do not know the conditions of heaven and hell, then just look at the human world. Some people are locked in jails and lose their freedoms. Some live in debt, being kidnapped and threatened by people around them. Although their bodies are free, their hearts are controlled firmly by responsibilities, obligations, and emotions. This is like living in hell. Some are not fettered by kinships, have no debts to pay, have no worries about eating, clothing, living, transportation, life, old age, or death. Nor do they assume any responsibilities or obligations. They begin their work at sunrise and their rest at sunset, being transcendent from vulgar, secular society, and have freedom of their bodies and souls. In the mortal world, the freer people are, the less restrained they are. The more constrained they are, the more restrained they are. One's level of freedom is the touchstone to verify a person's quality of life and taste of life. The higher their level of freedom is, the closer they are to heaven. The lower it is, the closer they are to hell. The higher their level of freedom is, the more colorful their lives are. The lower their level of freedom is, the blander their lives are. How do we measure one's level of freedom? Being free from worries and cares, dread and fears, following destined relationships, and walking along one's life trajectory proves that one's level of freedom is high. On the contrary, if one cares, worries, and has fears about many things, and is always anxious about their condition, then their level of freedom is low. For a life, freedom is foremost because only with freedom can a soul have space to fly, a mind to travel in boundless space and time, create unrestrainedly, enjoy the fragrance bestowed by nature, and go to heaven. How can one achieve a high level of freedom? Never establish special relationships with anyone. Never assume any responsibilities or obligations. Accrue no debts. Set no goals for yourself. Own nothing. The more you own, the less freedom you have. Promise nothing to anyone. Set no restrictions on yourself. Be unselfish. The more selfish you are, the less free you are. Have no ego. The more obstinate you are in yourself, the less freedom you have. Obey only the will of the greatest creator. Reject all moral preachings and ideas advocated by people. According to my observation, most people are not going toward freedom in their lives, but are shackling themselves constantly. They are not going to heaven, but are running desperately toward hell. Getting married is one example. Doing so is chaining a big iron ball to your ankle. Once you get married, you will have chosen to surrender half of your freedom. Starting a business or company is another example. It is your own vanity, greed, and desire to be outstanding that traps your freedom. Once you have your own company, you will never be free to climb down off the back of your tiger, and you will be stuck in the proverbial mud. Everyone wants to be an official, on the surface, that is rich, noble, honorable, dignified, and also glorifies their ancestors. But the truth is that after they become one, there are dangers everywhere. They live hypocritically and always lie to the point where even they do not believe what they say. They cannot say what they want or match their words with their deeds, which proves that they are not free at all. People are born into the realm of necessity. There are 18 factors that people cannot control by themselves. Therefore, as people, no one is truly free in their lives. They are wrapped in the waves of their times and have to rise and fall with them. Therefore, the essence of their lives are tragic. People knowing this take part in self-cultivation and self-refinement, try to get rid of the shackles of the kingdom of necessity and move towards the kingdom of freedom. However, this road is very difficult. It is like putting two piles in front of you, one of which consists of honor, power, money, beautiful women, handsome men, villas, luxury cars, people's compliments and admiration, while the other one has nothing but a letter of credit called freedom. Which pile do you choose? 99% of the people will always choose the first pile because the temptation of it is so strong. But for sure, those who choose the first pile will definitely lose their freedom. There is only one road from the kingdom of necessity to the kingdom of freedom. This is the tour guide's roadmap. It is only by following it strictly that one can have any hope of reaching the land of freedom. If any links are omitted, failure is guaranteed. 千百年来修行者的迷区 The practitioner's confusion for thousands of years. Xiefeng. January 12, 2021. Translated by Chinyu and edited by Kair. In 2008, I hired an African girl to help with my housework in Zimbabwe. My reason for choosing her was that she went to church every week, and I believe that regular churchgoers must be good in both character and in learning. Then my neighbors, an elderly British couple, later told me that she had stolen several things from them when I had her clean their rooms and yard when they went on a trip to South Africa and left their home in my charge. This is being noble when entering the church but absurd when leaving it. Here is a similar phenomenon. Everyone in mainland China who is more than 50 years of age has been educated in Maoist philosophy for decades. But what happened to these people after China's reform and its opening up, especially those who are officials? Needless to say, Everyone knows that few of them really serve the people. Instead, they are bribing each other and neglecting their duties to benefit themselves. When Mao was alive, they were the people's servants, but now they have become their masters. 15 years ago, there was an upsurge of learning about Western spirituality and Osho. The situation at that time can be described as the birth of masters like bamboo shoots after a spring rain. Talented people appeared frequently on the web. Everything they said were all spiritual contents, and all of a sudden there was the prospect of creating a new world. But then, 10 years later, the ebbs and flows of the tides disappeared. Many years ago, Master Jing Kong and Chen Dahui's movement to restore traditional culture could be said to have been in the ascendant. For a time, traditional culture seemed to be making everyone become like Yao and Shun, like saints and sages. Sometimes, when a lecture hall is full, it can make everyone feel that traditional cultural values really have the ability to become the model for the world. However, when they come out of that lecture hall and face reality, they are slapped back to their original shapes, which are still being noble when entering the church but absurd when leaving it. Since Chairman Mao left us, there have been waves of spiritual cultivation in China which can be described as each leading the pack for 3 to 5 years, but no traces of footprints were left on the beach after the storm. Today, people in social media groups are playing all kinds of tricks, and it seems that another time of 100 flowers looming is coming. Masters and experts are born like crucian carp crossing rivers, all sitting straight and seriously, preaching like Bodhisattva, and feeling that everyone is drunk but I alone am sober. And they talk about love, awakening, perfection, healing, Buddhism, Taoism, emptiness, and hearts, which all seem reasonable and might even have profound insights. The sad reality is that no matter who you are, after you have learned so much, spoken so much, and understood so much, you will often find that after just a few years or decades, you are standing in the same place. You have not entered the Elysium world. You are still having constant worries,